Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is June 14th. It's Friday. We're here to do robot and nonsense stories to end your week.
Got to start with OpenAI, right? They're the big name in the AI section. And as usual, it's not a good headline for them.
OpenAI insiders call, protect AI whistleblowers.
So we did just learn last week that up until last week, they had that non-disparagement agreement, meaning that even if you didn't work for them anymore, you had to sign something saying that you wouldn't say bad stuff about them. Now, that was patently illegal, and they were smart enough to undo it, but you can only imagine what other things these people have been told and warned about. They don't feel safe coming out and telling you what they really think about this product. They're saying that they need protections. I'm not sure they'll get it.
No, I don't think so either. Too much money.
And here's something interesting because, maybe like a little bit of conspiracy theory. Maybe there's like a DARPA server that's posting all of these at the same time.
AI apocalypse? ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity all went down at the same time. Still, nobody used Grok.
The theory that TechCrunch floated is that OpenAI went down and the flood of users going to other bots immediately, because they desperately need bot contact, I guess, broke the other ones because they weren't ready for
I can see that. That happens before.
I don't know, though.
I like from a narrative standpoint, I like the idea of it being a conspiracy and it being connected, but more likely it's just a flood of people.
And that was like in the U.S. time, it was in the wee hours of the morning. Who's up all night engaging with AI?
The children, remember? But they're all on the Snapchat AI.
And it's so fun to look at. Just maybe 2-3 years ago, the headlines where this same type of CEO was saying, we're not going to replace people with AI. Are you crazy? Why would we do that? It doesn't make any sense.
Sony will use AI to cut film costs, says CEO Tony. I have no idea how to pronounce that.
Vincekera?
Maybe?
That's my guess.
CEO of Sony.
But yeah, he's basically saying it's expensive to make movies, and we're going to let robots do it because they're not expensive. Oh, what's that? You want FX workers and actors to get paid? No, we don't do that anymore.
No. We need to make way more profit. Yeah. We're going to do some Hollywood accounting.
That's those days are over. And you spoke about this in our last episode, the style of your art.
Right.
How protected should a style be?
That's difficult to answer. Adobe scolded for selling Ansel Adams-style images generated by AI. It's difficult because your style can also evolve pretty quickly, like just the more you practice. But it's kind of shitty for someone to put in your name.
Well, that's the thing here, right? They're saying that, okay, you can sell Ansel Adams-style images. That's fine. But problem is you labeled them Ansel Adams-style images, so you're using his name. It's like the George Carlin thing, right?
Yeah. You put his name on it, he isn't involved.
And if you hadn't put his name on it, no one would care. That's the key. They've walked it back, but I mean, how many times are we going to see this in the future?
Until they can get their way with it.
I have noticed that ChatGPT, if you ask it to write in someone's style, it backs away from that really quick now. It won't play that game. You can mess with it and get it to do it, if you like put a few degrees of separation. It's like, well, imagine a character that's kind of like Stephen King writing.
Pretend you're on cocaine.
And here is a man who seems to want to rush into the AI apocalypse in the worst possible way, which maybe seems liberating at first, but then it just means that you don't have value.
The CEO of Zoom wants AI clones in meetings. That's going to be real fun when you're trying to make a decision on your software development project, and it's like, oh, I need to talk to your clone because you don't know what the hell's going on.
But think about this. Think about how many times you've had a meeting and you've done something, and then you present it to them, and they're like, I never said to do that.
Oh, let me roll back the tape because you did.
But you did say it. But now there's a new excuse, right? It's like, oh, my AI clone said that. I'm sorry. That wasn't real. I had to take my cat to the vet that day, so I sent the clone. It's the worst idea I've ever heard. I think what he wants is like Zoom was so hot.
Yeah, well, it had to be during the pandemic, yeah.
And now no one cares anymore, and he's trying to get that back somehow. But he doesn't know. He doesn't understand AI enough, maybe, to apply it to his
You would just thinking that through for like 2 seconds, why that's maybe a bad idea. But
The interview, this was an interview. You can go read the interview. He had some ideas about how it would work. I don't agree with them, but he seems to have fleshed it out to some degree. And ScarJo, again, it's like we were so on her side. It turns out maybe she was not in the right, but at the same time, it's creepy what they did. And the fact that they used the her tweet, I don't know where to be here. It's
definitely circumstantial. You want me to read this?
Oh, I thought you had more to say.
No, I don't. Voice analysis shows striking similarity between Scarlett Johansson and ChatGPT.
Now, that's the headline from NPR. That's goal-seeked. They said that it was very similar to her, but not as similar as Anne Hathaway and Carrie Russell. Carrie Russell, Anne Hathaway sound more if you break it down to FBI voice analysis, if you were going to prosecute this in court.
Phonetics or something.
They say those two are more like her. Now, would that mean that...
Could they do a dual lawsuit?
Well, but then she would lose her case, right?
Huh?
I don't know. But it's apparently not ScarJo. And education is... Can you imagine having a kid right now coming up in elementary school and you got to deal with all of this getting worse and worse every year?
For elementary school kids, at least around here, like my younger cousins, that's not like a thing yet. But I think at high school level, it's much more of a thing. Though. Yeah.
Well, it might not be a thing for them.
Yeah, maybe in a few years.
What about the teacher, though?
California teachers are using AI to grade papers. Who's grading the AI?
Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, this was, for a while, I feel like this was a thing, not with AI, but just like Blackboard, where it's like, oh, I put the answer in here like this, and I didn't check it, but if Blackboard said it was right, it was right, or if it was wrong, it was wrong.
So, not just multiple choice or, dictionary definition type stuff. We're talking about English papers.
Yeah, something where you're trying to get the kid to learn how to articulate their own thoughts.
They're letting ChatGPT grade it, which is weird because in some cases that ChatGPT is grading its own output.
Which is, yeah. I feel like writing is such an important skill. Because it forces you to think about how to explain your thoughts.
But now you do that in TikTok videos.
And not well.
It's kind of like a superpower, right?
I mean, I'm not saying we're great at it. We tend to wax poetic about a lot of topics, but we do try.
Well, I mean,
it may feel AI generated, but it is horrifically organic.
What other value can we add to just reading news stories?
No, I mean, even when we've done tutorial vids, they tend to be kind of long-winded.
Yeah. That's the hardest thing to do because once the camera's on and you start talking, you have a tendency to repeat yourself terribly.
Yeah.
And it's hard to turn off. I don't know why that is. It's all of a sudden it's oh, I need more words to come out, and you don't.
Well, for me, it's I want to make sure that I'm making sense. And normally if you're with a person, you can say, does that make sense? And the person can say yes or no.
You also hilariously are bad at remembering any amount of lines.
No, yeah, I can't do it.
You could never be an actress.
No, I couldn't. Not even a little.
But the teachers, they point out in here that the school board and all that stuff, they don't really have anything in place. They went to them and they're like, how many schools are using AI? And I'm like, I don't know. Talk to them. Are they allowed to? I don't know. Maybe. Why are you asking me? It's not like this is my job. Oh, wait.
Teach your kids to write.
And you have to put AI in everything, right? Even computers that you would never think would need AI.
The Raspberry Pi 5 gets an AI upgrade.
There is actually a lot of real world use for an Raspberry. If you're going to do image recognition or something, that'd be really useful. If
you're running your own facial recognition in your shop because everything's being shoplifted.
If I wanted to put up a camera to alert me every time Crouton puts his paw in the water dish.
Oh, every time Rhodey shows up outside your house. Rhodey's the new cat.
I'm not going to adopt Rhodey.
You might.
I might.
It's a stray cat.
I might let him live on the porch.
That's kind of what we were doing with Little Socks, but someone has adopted him because he had a collar last time we saw him, and now we haven't seen him for a few days.
That's what
a few weeks.
For. Well, the hottest new app, I'm sure that you every day you go to the App Store and look for the hottest new app, right?
Yeah, I'm constantly just downloading. Actually, I am constantly downloading apps, except it's not me, it's Samsung.
Yeah. I'm constantly fighting against
Yeah,
apps.
I'm always, it's like, do you want to play this new game? No.
Even going to like, to buy food at a fast food restaurant now. It's all like,
Yeah.
no, get away with me. I don't want your apps. Stop.
My mom has all of them. Yeah, she has a Dollar General app.
Does she eat a lot of fast food? I thought she had heart problems.
She doesn't eat a ton, but she is someone who, like, she's retired now. Oh, look, there's a little bug. She's retired now, so like her entire life is like, how can I get a deal? And a lot of times you get a deal by using the app. So.
Yeah, my dad loves to get deals.
Yeah.
And they eat a lot of fast food. It's like a regression at the end of your life, I guess. It's like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Just give me McDonald's, but make it cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, the hottest new app is actually a news app, but it's not from the same news sources you might be used to.
NewsBreak. Most downloaded U.S. news app has Chinese roots and writes fiction using AI. It's taking the job of that one woman. Do you remember there was like the Chinese
Russian,
housewife?
yeah.
I thought it was a Chinese housewife.
No, but she wrote Russian history.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so don't get your news from social media or apps. I mean, you should only get your news from here, right?
Obviously.
I skipped one. Oh, now this is something that would be useful for you.
Using AI to decode dog vocalizations. Roos are always, I want to go out. I want to eat turds out of the litter box. Give me a treat. Give me a belly rub.
I don't think they have it down to that level yet. They're trying to separate like happy barks from aggression barks. And they say they've had some success.
I don't think I've ever heard Roo. I don't even know if I've ever even really heard Roo growl. She does like a playful thing, like where she'll kind of like, "Rrr," but not like a mean growl.
During the streams, usually when someone's teasing her with food, I think in the background.
Yeah.
Her like those barks. If I heard that bark and I was just in a dark alley, I'd be like, oh shit.
She sounds intimidating, but like the whole time you can't see her because she's like out of frame, but she's like wagging her tail and jumping around.
Well, Rue is fairly trustworthy.
Yeah.
I don't feel like she's got a lot of deception going on in that little peanut inside of her head. But robots, can we trust them as much as we can trust little Rue?
Young children are more likely to trust information from robots over humans. Ages, I think it was 3 to 6, maybe?
They're very young, yes.
Yeah.
And they did some pretty exhaustive scientific method here. You can go and read about it. They did various, they would actually have the robots be wrong in front of the children and point out the wrong answers. And the children might have known it was wrong, but they still liked and trusted the robots more.
I wonder if part of that is just how like cute that particular robot is. If they did one that was more like if it was a spot robot, do you think they would trust it?
I think this is a stock photo. Yes.
Oh, damn.
You can't read that, but
No, it's very small. It's a tiny caption from this distance.
I don't think they gave us pictures of the robots. That's a good thing I didn't consider, but yeah, how the robot looks.
Because if you think it's like a cartoon character or something.
What if it was the T-1000 from Terminator?
Yeah. I don't think a child would trust that, but we'll see.
Oh, here's another one that I knew that you were going to have some strong feelings about this one.
Google AI just might kill you. It misidentified a destroying angel mushroom as an edible button mushroom. This is actually one of the most common poisoning mistakes in the U.S. because it looks very similar to a mushroom that grows in Asia that's edible. And so a lot of the poisoning incidents are from immigrants coming over here. And they see it and they're like, oh, I've had that before.
You can see here Gemini made the mistake.
You can't trust. You got to get out in the field with a guide who can tell you what you're looking for. You probably need to do a spore print. You need to see what kind of wood it's growing off of, if it's growing off of wood.
They gave an explanation of what would happen to you if you ate that mushroom here.
It will shut down your liver.
Pretty terrifying. I think I'll stick with not eating mushrooms that I find wild.
Yeah, you need to be 100% sure.
But maybe soon, if we're lucky, we'll have robots in our homes that we can send out into the forest to recover the mushrooms for us.
Apple reportedly developing robots that'll roam your home. Thanks, but no thanks.
I'm sure they'll respect my privacy.
Oh, absolutely.
You wake up in the middle of the night and it's like measuring you for your ad profile.
It's watching you breathe.
I mean, if it can cook and clean, maybe I'd like I don't know. I don't know if I could ever do it.
Yeah.
It's so invasive.
Wendell would do it in a heartbeat. I think
What-
he would get over the privacy concern really quick if he could just have a robot that cooked for him.
I think I could get over the privacy concern maybe when I'm much older.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm really going to need it, right?
Yeah.
I think the robots are going to come into their own, and then when we get old, they're going to take care of us. And probably when we get too old and run out of money, they're just going to finish us off. They will also be driving. They will be doing all of our driving. And how long will that take? I don't know about this prediction.
Ford says drivers will be able to take their eyes off the road in 2 years.
Now, remind me,
Full self-driving.
how many years ago did Musk say that?
Is this like on their little test strip that's perfectly flat and like never rains? And
No, he claims, well, he did bring up weather. The Blue Cruise is what they've got now. And he said that that was really good. But, you know, that's only on like major highways. He said that in sunshine, in 2 years, it'll be all roads up to 80 miles per hour. And if it rains, it cuts down the speed.
I'd like to see it. I'd love to see that shit on the road I live on.
I don't think you will.
I don't think
I mean,
will
maybe
either.
someday.
Yeah, I think much longer than 2 years, though.
Well, we usually have a lot of bad news here, but the space news this week was all positive.
SpaceX soars through new milestones in test flight of the most powerful rocket ever built.
The Starship went up, performed perfectly, and was recovered. The boosters.
Space Bucky's getting closer every day.
Closer, and they're not the only ones.
Boeing Starliner's crew is now on the space station after encountering new issues en route.
That wasn't perfect. They did have some thrusters that didn't fire for the manual controls. They also have a helium leak that's going on right now.
Are they all like really high pitched?
That'd be hilarious, wouldn't it? Look,
Houston!
imagine Armstrong's quotes on the moon. He's all heliumed up. But they are on the. They don't think the helium problem is going to be an issue getting back and everything. So it's all good.
Just be high pitched for a little bit.
I'm sure they take more than they need.
I never know how to pronounce this. Every time I read it as Chang'e.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah. China's Chang'e 6 probe successfully lands on far side of the moon. Second time, right? That's never happened? I think that's what the article said.
Didn't the first one crash?
Well, they said second in the article, so apparently someone has made it before.
They're going to pick up some moon rocks from the dark side.
As you do.
And bring them back.
I'm going out to the dark side of the moon to pick up some rocks. Do you want anything?
Nah, last time I got rocks from there, they were stale.
They weren't very good.
Oh, here's a sad one. We have the Voyager probe that's out there still trucking far beyond what anybody expected. But you have to remember that these little guys that are floating out there in space, even though they're in space, they don't last forever.
Aging Hubble telescope moves to one-gyro operations, reducing productivity and limiting science.
So obviously,
They need more science buildings.
when it has to reorient itself, it has to use gyroscopes to maintain its orientation. And it used to have 3. Now it has, or it might have started with more than 3. Now it's down to 2. But because you don't want to run 2 at the same time, because you always want to back up, we're only going to run 1 for the rest of its life.
Oh, poor Hubble. Hobbling around up there.
It's all, it's like the joints are creaking, and
Yeah.
it looks over at the James Webb, and it was like, oh, remember when I was the best telescope?
Back in my day. It's like, shut up, old man.
Now, if you've ever played a space sim,
Oh, yeah.
obviously one of the first things you're going to be tempted to do is space piracy. It's just natural.
First annual Space Piracy Conference will examine threats of orbital crime and smuggling. I like to imagine it's actually just for space pirates, and the conference titles, the discussion titles are what outfits to wear when you're space adventuring.
Well, I would think it would be an EVA suit, right?
No, it's like a fluffy shirt and a hat.
That's kind of nonsense, but yeah, it's going to happen, right? Eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually somebody's going to try.
It's funny that we're talking about it now. They've already developed a conference for it.
Well, you want to be the first one to get the conference, right?
Yeah, you got to get that space early.
And this one is not surprising. I didn't look too much into how they studied this, but I mean, we kind of see.
Isn't even surprised? Yeah.
We see in the world around us.
Internet addiction alters brain chemistry in young people. Study finds, it's in the name, addiction.
So it turns out that just the act of pulling out the phone is maybe addictive. Also, They pointed out addictive use of mouse and keyboard.
Oh, I can see that.
Like they need mouse and keyboard in their life. I was watching a DUI video, and this girl was so drunk, she pulled into a gas station and went into the bathroom, but she was so drunk she couldn't remember her code for her phone, so she had run it up to like 6 hours. You know how the iPhone does that?
Oh, yeah.
It locks you out. And so there was no way she could get in the phone, and the cop was trying to like call somebody to come and get her. And he explained to her, you cannot get in your phone. Stop trying to do that. Every 10 seconds, she would pull that phone out and just stare at it and just like
try again. Just paw at the screen.
Her drunk mind was so obsessed with the phone, even though she couldn't use it.
Yeah.
She still wanted to stare at it. That's got to be something related to this, right?
Yeah. I'm probably more addicted to it than I should be, but like I've noticed when me and my husband go out to like eat or something, like usually we don't pull our phones out at all. You know, we're there together and we don't go out to eat very often, but like we'll look around at the other tables and like that's just a wasteland.
Wendell is the poster child for that. He can't go. I don't know if in the last 5 years I've seen him go more than 30 minutes at a time without looking at his phone. Ever.
Yeah, it's like even when we podcast, he'll pull it out.
Yeah, always. And here's just, moving into nonsense in the health section. That's sad. We all know this is the reality, but it doesn't seem like we're doing anything about it.
More than half of U.S. adults will have cardiovascular disease by 2050, research finds. I'm probably part of that 50%.
You think so?
Yeah, just because I have a history. My whole family has a history of heart problems.
It's like hugely genetic, isn't it?
Yeah. So like I'm probably screwed. I might not be, but I'm probably am.
Are you taking any steps to try to...
I mean, I exercise and I eat okay, not great. I
Pepsi and...
I don't drink Pepsi at home.
Starbursts and Gushers.
Those are my snacks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Does that mean you're not eating it?
But like, I don't drink Pepsi at home at all. But like the Gushers and stuff, not good. But my husband cooks, and if it wasn't for him, I probably would be eating a lot worse. But my husband's a good cook.
Let me give you a little Pepsi trivia. I bet you don't know. Pepsi used to be the number 2 soda. It's not anymore. Who do you think took number 2?
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
People, whenever I ask people what their favorite soda, people always say Dr. Pepper.
All of a sudden, people are into Dr. Pepper.
I never liked Dr. Pepper.
Was that an incredible marketing campaign, you think? Or
people like cherry? I don't know. I never liked that.
Cherry?
Isn't it cherry?
Nah, it's like herbs and spices.
Whatever it is, it's like, it reminds me of medicine. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah, it does taste like golf medicine, doesn't it? And all of this stuff, all of our diseases, might have something to do with the fact that the science behind our food and our medicine and everything is fake.
Biomedical paper retractions have quadrupled in 20 years. Why?
Money.
Yeah.
Let me save you a reading. It's money.
It's money. Oh.
And, if you do have those heart problems, all hope is not lost. Because what we might be able to do is, get one of these brain-dead TikTokers, just pop you in their body.
First human head transplant could be achieved by 2030, veteran NHS neurosurgeon claims. How old is this guy?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I should have looked this guy up after I read the story.
But it's hilarious because he was saying like he had sort of an epiphany because everybody who's so far tried to transplant a head just chopped a head off. But he's saying, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tear out the whole spine. Spine, head, everything. Pop that into the body.
Well, see, there's always like, just because you're a neurosurgeon, doesn't mean you're not a wackadoodle. So you gotta look it up,
When he's talking about removing the whole spine, I got to suspect that this could be Sub-Zero in disguise.
Or Auntie Ethel.
Did she rip out people's spines?
She threatens to. The quote from the game is, "I'm going to rip your spine out through your asshole," I think is what she says.
What game is that?
Baldur's Gate.
Oh,
the hag.
The hag.
She'll scream at you. Yeah, it's like one of the taunts she yells.
I don't think she was doing it to transplant.
No, she does take your eye though. So I mean, she does transplant things.
Now, we've seen so many of these headlines, but once again, there's nuances here. It doesn't seem like it's the kidney's fault. It seems like the pig kidneys fail, but never for their own faults.
Woman who received pig kidney transplant has it removed.
Turns out that her heart was also messed up. She got a heart pump installed, but it couldn't pump enough blood to the pig kidney.
Wow.
That's got to be a roller coaster of emotions.
I'd say that sounds like a lot of health problems.
Yeah, she had so many health problems, she couldn't get a human kidney. Like the transplant people are like, nah, that's, we're not putting new parts in a rusted out car. Sorry. So you get the pig kidney. Didn't work. Now, one thing that we're running into, Krista, you and I are both contributors to this, is low birth rates all over the world, but Japan in particular is struggling, and they have a interesting solution.
Tokyo government to launch dating app to boost birth rate. Have you considered maybe just like making lives better for your citizens so they don't feel so hopeless? No, it's a dating app that's the problem.
Now, I think it gets a little bit more dystopian than it says in the headline, because apparently it's normal in Japan to put how much you earn on your dating profile.
That's weird.
But in this dating profile, you have to prove it. You have to give them your tax forms. You also have to get a certificate saying that you're actually single and not just looking for some extramarital
That's
action.
Hilarious. Who would use that? Are they going to make it mandatory? How weird is that going to be?
I mean, that's just a breeding program at that point, isn't it? And in China, they are accused of faking some things. Maybe some counterfeiting, maybe pretending that things are a little better than they are. And here's a hilarious example.
Hiker finds pipe feeding China's tallest waterfall. Couldn't they just say, like, it's China's tallest man-made waterfall? Like, can you just change the title?
It's a legit waterfall, but China, at least this area, has like a wet season and a dry season.
Ah, okay.
And during the dry season, you might not get any waterfall activity, but a lot of people travel there during the dry season. So they didn't want people to show up. Yeah. So they're like, you know what? Let's just run some municipal water.
What a waste.
And the guy hiking it was apparently a really difficult hike.
Yeah.
So imagine how hard it was to build that pipeline.
It's amazing on some are like the nice like maintained trails. Like on the Foothills Trail, there were sections where they had like cisterns where you could get water because it was like high up and there was no other water source. And those were incredible to find because it'd be like, oh man, I'm so thirsty. I've got like 10 miles to the next water source. And then you'd find that cistern and be like, yes.
But now that's not potable, right?
No, you have to filter it.
Okay.
But it is nice because it gathers it all up instead of having to get it out of a trickle off the rock.
But that should be part of the experience. Licking rocks should be part of the camping experience.
I've done it before. Not licked a rock, but like put a water bottle under a little trickle coming off of a rock and then waited for it to fill up.
The magic of nature.
Yeah.
Well, these children will not be allowed to experience the magic of nature. I think this points out that we've always had generational divides. But as technology and, like we talk about social media algorithms and AI and stuff, I think the divides are getting deeper and deeper.
Finnish police use classical music to prevent young people from partying on beach. I'd still party.
I didn't hate classical music when I was a teen.
No, I liked it.
It
wouldn't stop me.
That is.
Yeah.
They pointed out the songs that they played. I recognized some of them. I was like, no, those are like the hits.
Yeah, those are the big hits.
Yeah. And this is air travel, man. It's like a contest to see who can treat you the most like a farm
Human
animal
garbage. Yeah.
when you're on one of these things.
WestJet announces new basic fare called Ultra Basic. I like they put the ultra in there because it makes it sound like it's better.
And they camel case it.
Yeah.
But it's one word. So here are the rules of Ultra Basic, right? You don't get to pick where you sit. You're probably going to be in the middle seat. Oh. You won't be sitting with if you purchase 2 tickets, they're not going to be together.
I had to do that on our honeymoon. We did that to save money, and it was very weird. I sat next to a lady who was deeply distressed when we hit some turbulence, and she had like a rosary. She like immediately put it up and was like kissing it and like almost crying. I wanted to put my hand on her and be like, it's okay. It's just a little turbulence. It wasn't even that bad.
So you will be experiencing that. You will also be as far back in the plane as they can possibly put you. You will not be allowed to bring a carry-on except for what you can stuff under your seat. If it doesn't fit under your seat, you'll pay an extra fee.
To use the overhead?
You won't be able to use the overhead. You have to check it. No overhead for you.
Even if you pay for overhead?
Well, you can, maybe. I don't think so, though. I think you have to pay to check.
Huh.
You will board last. Dead last. Always. On Ultra Basic.
I would think you would board first if you're at the back of the plane.
No.
So you have to like stumble past everybody?
So enjoy that, Canada. Your ultra basic airline.
You know what kills me, and I don't fly very often. It's been years since I've flown, but like, when the plane lands, and then everyone just stands up, and like you can't get off the plane yet,
Yeah.
and everyone's just like standing in the aisle, and I'm like, the doors aren't even open. What are you doing? Just sit down.
Whenever I went to like rock concerts or whatever, I would just wait.
Yeah.
Because the parking lot's going to be a madhouse too. You know what? Let's sit here and finish our $8 beer.
Yeah. Instead of wasting it, throwing it out, they're just standing in the parking lot.
But yeah, they're always trying to squeeze as many dollars as they can from us. And some people have been destroyed by that. They've been forced to shoplift.
Pringles thief told police, once you pop, you can't stop. Once you pop, you just can't stop, I think is the actual slogan.
Maybe he didn't want to get sued for exactly matching it. He stole a lot of Pringles.
I do like Pringles. You know, I think that the default Pringles flavor is the closest you can get to a McDonald's French fry without the heat.
Probably the same oil, right?
Yeah.
The same POFA oils. 300 pounds worth of Pringles. What do they cost these days? Like $4 a can?
You can get them cheaper than that.
Well, he wasn't exactly buying in bulk. They probably priced them individually on him. But
they didn't do the 10 for 10 deal at Kroger for him.
He was a 6-month suspended sentence. So, in other words, no jail time, which is why
he's going to keep popping.
Yeah. He already told him he can't stop, and they didn't stop him.
Oh, look! I said McDonald's and it appeared in the sidebar.
This has to do with Amazon delivery drivers. Now, I can empathize that the Amazon delivery driver is being driven like a workhorse.
Yeah.
They're being surveilled. They know that they have to get an insane amount of deliveries every day. But I think you do have to be a little more aware than this.
Amazon delivery driver reportedly leaves package at smoking garage and doesn't call 911. If it had just been the first part of that headline before the comma, I'd been like, okay. But not calling 911 is a step too far, maybe.
But here's the thing about it. Apparently, they have the service where he's allowed to open their garage door, which is insane.
Yeah.
He opened the garage door and walked into the garage as smoke billowed out and put the package
just
down.
like, okay.
And then closed the door behind him. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason you don't want to do that, but it just seems like that's basic bedrock human courtesy.
Yeah. It's like, I think there's a fire here. Let me call someone.
Bro, you're on fire.
Yeah.
I have to let you know. Man, I'm excited for this. I imagine they'll probably try to do something to stop it, but I hope this happens.
French protesters to poo in the, how do you pronounce this word? Sign?
CN, I think.
I don't speak French. Amid Paris 2024 Olympics controversy.
So they have
a river,
a very polluted river. Obviously, it's a major city. But to sort of like shine the turd, before the Olympics, they want to spend a ton of money to clean it up. But they've also been like doing all these austerity things in France and upsetting the farmers and kind of kicking the people around. And so the people are saying, hey, why don't you take care of us instead of this stupid river for the Olympics? And the way that they're going to protest that is by making the river dirty.
I feel like that's kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face because you have to deal with the poopy river.
Well, I don't know if they have to deal with it directly.
The smell? If you live anywhere near
if
it.
It's underwater. I don't know. We'll find out, huh?
There may be more effective ways to protest. Like just poop on the politician's doorstep.
But you'll get arrested for that. You can't do that en masse. Like, where are you going to park?
Imagine the amount of turds on the lawn of the French lawmakers.
I mean, maybe you poop in a bag at home, bring it.
Ship it.
But then you might get pulled over and they're going to be like, this is a terrorist act. I don't know. I read the story and it was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. But then there was a salacious twist. They put it in the headline of this one.
Mississippi State Trooper is fired after sending adult tape of her and another woman to colleagues.
The fact that it was another woman, I think, is what
really
sort of kicked all this off.
It should have, like, this is harassment. Like, sending this kind of content to a colleague is harassment.
Oh, I don't think they minded.
Oh,
The complainant here is not the other cops who got the video. The complainant is the other woman in the video. She says she was drunk, did not consent, and this is revenge pee.
oh. Well, that's certainly. I mean, you could make an argument for both. It's harassment of the other people who didn't consent to have the video sent to them, but also of the person who didn't consent to have the video taken at all.
She's got to be in like the top 5 percentile of hot state troopers, right?
That hat doesn't do favors for anybody, though.
No.
Nobody rocks that hat.
Hats on girls, I feel like is usually not a good look.
I don't know. I've seen some people rock some hats.
It's rare. It's rare. It's like short hair. Some girls can really make it work, but it's rare.
Yeah, you have to have, I think, more delicate features to pull it off.
Now, she says it's all a misunderstanding, and she's the woman who was in the video, the other woman, is suing, but she's now representing herself after 2 attorneys have quit her. So I don't know if there's really going to be much of a
messy,
case there.
yeah.
I think she might have some maybe emotional, mental issues popping up. I don't know. But when it comes to young beauties, although she's not as young as she used to be, right? She's young to me.
She's my age.
She is. She's up there, and she is super, super important to our culture, I guess, which is why we have this.
A Taylor Swift class is coming to Quinnipiac University.
Quinnipiac,
Quinnipiac.
I think is how you pronounce that. I don't know if it's Quinnipiac or Quinnipiac. Anyway,
Scrolling down.
this writer, let's see, what is the name of this? Kaylin Blonstein. She crowbarred in as many Taylor Swift song titles as she possibly could into this article.
I would expect nothing less from a Kaylin.
I realized I think I know Taylor Swift songs. I don't know any of these.
Well, sometimes when we have a Taylor Swift title, we'll try to work in a title of her song. But yeah, I have to look them up a lot of times. I don't know very many. I know like the big ones that played on the radio a lot. But
they're going to, explore like her cultural meaning and her rise to meteoric fame.
I mean, I can see that as like an art history class, but like she's not really history. It's not that long ago.
They're just fleecing money from dumb kids and their parents.
I mean, I've seen like history of rock and roll classes, but that is a much longer time period.
Well, the big controversial one was Lord of the Rings, right? And that has literary value, but people still bucked against that. They're like, no, that's entertainment. Don't teach that. Who are we to judge? Spain. They apparently, Spain's a big destination because it's a beach and the other Euro countries come there to enjoy themselves. They might get a little too rowdy.
Spanish tourist town bans adult dolls and costumes of other things for bachelor and bachelorette parties.
They point out that somebody had a wild bachelor party where there were all of those blow-up things. They taped the nude groom to a light pole.
Oh, wow.
While they partied.
The worst I've seen at a bachelorette was just, cookies that were shaped a certain way. But that's like they actually went out and got a printout of the naked groom. That's like a next level.
Wait, printout?
Is that what you said?
No. They physically taped him to a light pole. They were drunk.
Oh.
Stripped him down, taped him to a light pole.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I kind of don't blame him for being maybe we need to have some stuff in place.
Now, I know what your answer is going to be to this, but I'll pose the question to you anyway. He's 93. You got maybe like...
Till death do us part.
Maybe like 3-4 years to wait for that fortune. Could you stand it?
Media mogul Rupert Murdoch marries for the 5th time. I think in Kentucky you are limited to 7. If you divorce after your 7th time, they say no more. You're done.
Really?
Yeah. I know that because someone I know, not well, but know of, I guess, has hit the limit.
Oh.
They cannot marry again.
Could you go to another state?
Probably. Depends on, I guess, the state, what the rules are.
But then what about, like, if I went to West Virginia and got married.
Right.
But I'm not allowed to marry again in Kentucky. How does that affect my Kentucky state taxes?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know this person well enough to like go and ask, but I have a lot of questions like that.
Well, here she is. She's 67, which is still very young compared to him.
30 years younger than him, yeah.
But she looks pretty good for 67, right?
Yeah.
She's got it together. She also has a pretty good track, like CV. You know, he doesn't just marry floozies, it seems. They all have impressive pasts.
I mean, would I marry someone 30 years older than me? No. But I mean, they were both adults when they met. So it's kind of like.
Yeah, I mean, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I feel like money might be a factor.
Probably.
I don't know these people, but something tells me money might be a factor. How much do you think she's cut in for in the will? Because he's not gonna give her everything.
They'll probably do a prenup, right?
What's her number, you think? To put up with that for 5 more years.
I mean, they could be in love. Do you think billionaires know love?
Not that one.
Human emotions?
Not
Yeah.
No. And the sphere in Las Vegas, you know, it's a cool thing that you see from airplanes and GIFs on Reddit, but it's
who
more
would
than
go
that.
to that?
It's actually a concert venue, and the inside has screens as well, which is cool. I would like to see that. And there's another first.
Fish fan who ripped first bong at Sphere permanently banned from the venue. I guess what happens in Vegas doesn't actually stay in Vegas.
So here, Fish at MSG, which is an Instagram account. MSG, Madison Square Garden owns the Sphere, even though it's in New York, which is weird. Anyway, he had the letter framed of him being banned for life. He sees that as a badge of honor, of course. Man, I cannot get into the jam band stuff. Can you? Are you into that?
Not really.
Fish, Grateful Dead, all that stuff? Yeah, I don't understand it. And this is interesting because, like, how much makeup is too much makeup, and who gets to decide, right? Apparently just bureaucrats at this school.
Boonesboro High School seniors, what that should say, denied chance to walk on graduation stage due to makeup concerns.
She might be high. I don't know. There you go. What do you think? Too much?
Who cares?
Boonesboro High School.
This is just some bureaucrat at the school who's like, I have nothing else going on in my life, and I'm going to be mad about it.
I don't know if that. I don't think that's what it is exactly. I think it's because identity politics have gotten to such a weaponized state that these bureaucrats don't know what to be afraid of, right? Like, they don't actually stand for anything. They don't have any beliefs. It's just the narrative washing over them, and they just go wherever it puts them. And when they see something original, they don't know what to do because here's what they said.
District says it did not have sufficient notice to study symbolism behind makeup. Like, do you need a class? Do you need a Sephora class?
I'm thinking that in their minds, they're like, oh God, what is this, like Insane Clown Posse? Does this mean something bad? That I'm going to be
maybe I just
associated with?
like weird makeup, you know? Why did we all contour our faces in 2016? You know, sometimes it's just a trend.
This is getting back to, you know, like the dark ages where it's like, if I don't understand it, I just need to destroy it because it's bad.
I know when I graduated college, like, there was a big rule about, like, you're not allowed to decorate your funny hat.
So they brought that up. Standard robe, no decorations on the cap, no jeans.
Really? No jeans?
They had a dress
No
code.
one would go to my high school graduation if the no jeans were not allowed.
Which is weird because the robe was like...
But the robe's a trash bag, let's be real.
But they had a whole thing laid out, but it didn't say anything about makeup.
I mean, who cares?
Again, Boonesboro High School.
Yeah.
Now, you're a big milk drinker. What about fruit juices?
I don't drink fruit juice a whole lot. We do have some orange juice in the fridge right now.
But the dark secret about most fruit juices is that they're not... It says 100% juice, but that just means 100%
Apple juice.
Juice, not 100% apple juice. Like 100% cranberry is not 100%
It's always
cranberry.
cut with apple. I don't know why that is.
Well, get ready for your orange juice to join that list.
Orange juice makers consider using alternative fruit as prices skyrocket.
Green fruit disease. Have you heard of that one?
Mm-mm. We can't grow citrus in our zone. It's too cold here, so I've never tried.
If your citrus gets green fruit disease, it gives green bitter fruit for a couple of years and then inevitably dies.
Wow.
And Brazil is apparently just teeming with this stuff.
Huh.
So Florida is our last hope for OJ.
Oh, no. My peach trees are starting to produce. They have a couple little peaches. They're not real big because the trees are still pretty small. I actually pruned a lot of the fruit off, but we kept a couple just to have, and there's some little peaches on it.
You gonna give it like a cobbler, maybe?
I might just eat them. There's like the fruit is not very big, and I imagine the pit's going to be pretty large, so it'll probably just be like a few bites of peach for this first season. But exciting.
I think a cobbler is in order. Maybe just a little one.
We have a lot of grapes this year too, like a ton of grapes.
You should make wine.
I know. I've thought about that.
Well, Rue has never bitten a mailman, right?
No, never bitten anyone.
I can't see her being part of that, but it is a problem that happens a lot.
U.S. Postal Service releases dog bite national rankings.
Did you look at the list?
I did not look at the list.
Give me your prediction for number one state for dog bite.
Mississippi.
No. It surprised me.
I would assume a southern state.
Los Angeles, California.
Really?
Yeah. That's by city, but by state, California is still number one, followed by Texas.
So the reason I say that is when people talk about like hiking trails, a lot of people mention like if you're hiking in the South and you have to do a road walk, loose dogs are much more of a problem in the South than other places. So I could see if you're a postal delivery person and you're delivering in a rural area, that's a problem.
I'm a firm believer that whatever your dog does, you should be responsible for. Like if your dog bites me, you should be charged as if you bit me.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you meant like you pay the medical costs. I think that's how it works.
No. You should take assault charges for that.
Oh.
Well, actually, with police dogs, it's the opposite. You're not allowed to hurt the police dogs.
That's an officer in action.
Even though they're trying to bite you, which the normal cops would not be allowed to do. And here's a tragic story, but I mean, you can't be surprised here,
Moose
right?
are mean.
You got to respect the moose, especially the mommies.
Moose kills Alaskan man attempting to take photos of her newborn calves. Yeah, I've been told to be a little afraid of mooses, because they're big and they are aggressive if you get too close.
You know what she was to that guy? She was a moose I'd like to film.
That's a title idea, except we can't put that in there.
And it seems that 2024 is the year of bat attacks.
Yeah, what the heck?
The orcas have turned on us, the moose, the bears, and now the bats.
Singer Taylor Momsen bit by a bat while performing on stage.
They got a link to the Instagram video. It is pretty hilarious. Like she's wearing a little short dress.
Yeah.
And the bat just latches onto her thigh.
Oh.
And apparently it did bite her.
Yeah, she has to do a rabies shot course, I think.
I've heard of this. Pretty Reckless. I've heard of that band. I don't know their music.
I'm not familiar with it, but this was a story. I saw this all over a lot of the pop subreddits.
She took it well. Like a lot of girls, I think, would really freak out if they were bat attacked. She was just totally chill about it.
I would probably jump, like if a bat flew at me. Yeah.
She just like stuck her leg out and she was like, "Can somebody help me?" Somebody came over and like shoot it away.
Yeah, and then she realized she'd been bit and it was like, "Ah, crap, I got to get all those shots."
Excellent poise on stage.
Yeah.
For this gal. And our final story, we'll try to do a little something uplifting here.
Yeah, we go everywhere together, says man who took baby goat on a cross-Canada road trip.
So this is, the horror of nature. The real horror of nature is not like a great white ripping something apart. It's a mommy goat rejecting her little baby goat because he had a bad underbite and he couldn't latch on.
Oh.
Remember you're always talking about latching?
Yeah.
Some kids can't do it. This little guy couldn't do it. It's a he. So this guy had to adopt him and immediately...
Look at the dude. Oh, he's so cool.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Immediately became bonded with the little goat because the goat was like, "Okay, you're my mommy now."
Yeah.
And so now they travel everywhere together in their hippie van.
I like that he's got, like, in that other picture, he's got, like, a cigarette dangling out of his mouth and a giant mustache. He's like, if you ask me who's taking a goat on a cross-country road trip, like, this is the guy I would think of.
And you can tell he's kind of like a laid-back, chill guy, and everybody gets along with him because he said he traveled all through Canada, and hotels and stores, everywhere he went, he'd be like, "Can I bring the goat?" And they're like, "Totally. Don't worry
Don't worry about it, dude.
Just bring," everybody loves the goat.
I imagine I mean, it depends on where you're going, but, like, I imagine just being nice about it and being like, "Hey, I have a weird circumstance where I have a goat. Can I please bring it in?" Like, that probably takes you a long way instead of just assuming you can.
One thing they didn't cover, and I think you always have to cover this when you have a weird pet story, because it's the first thing that I think about is, can you potty train
A goat?
the goat? He claimed in the story that the goat was kind of like a dog, but just a little bit harder to train, which makes me think that maybe he figured it out.
It seems like the two like ways you can handle that with a pet is like you either have a designated place for them, like a litter box for a bunny or a cat, or you train them to go to the door and then you take them out, like a dog.
I don't think a goat could dig into a litter box, right?
No, probably not. It probably is like a dog, right? Because like Rue goes to the door and she'll like scratch at it or stomp her foot to tell me, hey, I want to go out. So
I don't know. But apparently goat is a great companion if you raise it from infancy. The other thing that's sad here that he pointed out is he still has the rest of the goat family. And he says from time to time he would take this goat back and try to like reunite them. And the mom would just get it in the corner and like headbutt it.
Oh,
She was
you should be dead.
She was done with this baby goat.
Oh,
Nature's horrible. All right, well,
that's it.
when we'll be back next week, I'm sure everybody's hyped for that. And we'll be back, maybe. And the news will probably be bad.
Unless something happens before then. We may all be dead by then. If not, see you next one. Bye!